Hi, and welcome to How to Write a Great Story. I'm L.W. Greenwood, and today I would like to talk about story versus character. Um, Basically, this is all about, what are you basing your story on? Is it going to be on the story, or is it going to be on the character? And there's nothing really wrong with going either way, but there's certain advantages to going one way or the other. For a story-based story, it's kind of weird to say that, but yeah, the story is about the story. Like, let's say The Lord of the Rings. It's about a great war going to defeat Sauron and whatnot, and this plan to do it and all that kind of thing. And characters like Gandalf and Frodo and all of that, they're just there to populate the story. And it wouldn't matter who was in that position. It could have been Sam instead of Frodo, and it wouldn't have mattered because the story isn't about any particular character. It's about, you know, going and defeating the evil overlord. This. So, and that's done in a lot of stories. Star Wars, The Matrix, just to name a few. There's lots of them. Pretty much all your stories will be about the story and not particularly about the character because, as I say, the character doesn't matter. Um, let's say, what is your character-based story? Obviously, it's based on the character, and you can include pretty much all superhero stories because uh, it's about the superhero and not just about the villains he's fighting. Take Superman for example. His story isn't about just about going and defeating villains or any such thing as that. It's really based on Superman because well he's so powerful that nobody could really stand up to him. So his story is more about him being an alien and coming here to Earth and about him dealing with the world and being from a different planet and all that kind of stuff. Other stories might include, say, Sherlock Holmes. I mean, Sherlock Holmes is all about him being an awesome detective and how he goes off and he's so intelligent, I should say, and he's able to catch these criminals. It's not necessarily about catching the criminals, but more about, Sherlock Holmes himself. Another one might be The Adventures of Huck Finn. I mean, the story is about Huck Finn, um, and really whatever happens in the story is just, to show who Huck Finn is and how he would deal with situations, I guess. Um, you know, there are a lot of these stories, and in fact, no matter what story you're writing, I would suggest building it up from a character, not, having a story and putting a character in it, but actually start with a character. Because the if you start with the character, the story will be more interesting. Um, because if you don't have good characters, if you just populate a story with whoever, then your story isn't going to be good. I want to point to Aragorn with this. I mean, he had a story-based story, and he just threw in some characters. Those characters ended up being major cliches of other characters in a lot of other stories. So really try not to do that. So I mean, obviously you're probably not going to do that with your main character, but you don't want to do that with other characters too. I mean, there's a lot of cliches outside the main character. I mean, obviously, how many stories have uh, Merlin type uh, wizard? Right? Obviously, The Lord of the Rings. Obviously, Harry Potter, and there's a whole bunch of them. All of them have this same wise old man who is proficient at magic and pretty much guides them along their way. It's not a bad character to have, but there always seems to be one. So try to change it up. Try to um, make the characters more interesting, gear the story around the characters instead of just the story, just what's happening. Again, it's hard to explain, so anyway, I guess that's probably it for now. I guess I'll go ahead and do my impromptu story, and I really haven't thought of one for this video, so we'll see what happens. Since we're doing story versus character, I'll go with a character-driven story. Let's say a guy who, he's a mountain man, and he's basically out in the woods by himself, and I guess you could probably do it in the past, but you could also probably do it, in the present, you know, how he deals with life out in the woods and whatnot, and maybe he fights bears, or maybe if it is in the past, how he fights Indians. Kind of sounds like Jeremiah Johnson, but that was a story-based character. I mean, character-based story. Sorry, a little dyslexic. Anyway, yeah, I guess that works. It's not the best one I could come up with, but that's the nature of impromptu plots. I'm just coming up with it out of my head. So anyway, thanks for watching, and keep on writing if you like to write. Anyway, go on to my next video, which is going to be writing style.